It says about Scandinavia and the Armenian genocide. It's actually about Scandinavia and Armenia and the Armenian question. And Armenians, we go back, way back, I think, at least in the updated version, we go back to the Viking Age, where we have a Norwegian king with some Armenian, Silesian bishops going to Iceland to make them all Christians or good Christians or whatever. So these connections go way back. But I'm going to very briefly take, you can read all that, you can see all that, so I'm going to very briefly do something slightly off a tangent here, but related to our discussions earlier in the panel. Scandinavia and the Armenian genocide and the question of recognition and all that. So, why do we have a situation where Denmark and Norway have not recognized the genocide, but Sweden has? So, let's go back.
Sweden, yes, no?
Yeah, Sweden has, and the Pontic and Assyrian genocides. So, why is that? We have to look at the continuity and what is new when it comes to Sweden. What is different about that? So the continuity is that Scandinavian countries have been involved with the Armenian question and Armenians and Armenian since at least profoundly since the Abdul Hamid massacres of the 1890s. Was that government involvement? Hell no. That was grassroots movements. When does this become a state, and here I'm talking about foreign ministries, State departments. That is the crucial factor here. State departments. Let's use the American term, okay? That becomes an issue during the genocide. Slightly so. What is to be the position? Because what begins to stream in? Documents upon documents, report upon report about the extermination of the Armenians from 1950. At first, what is the issue for the Danish, the Scandinavian foreign ministries, state departments? Well, the only real issue I've seen, I mean, they don't protest. They're being invited by their, I think it's the Vatican and some other states in late 1915, early 1916 to, join a protest. Also, when it comes to the Greek massacres beginning in 1917, they're also being invited. They decline. Why? Small powers, right? We're talking about little countries. It's always about this small neutral powers, sorry, not powers, countries. It's always about a cost-benefit analysis. What can we lose? What can we gain? We can gain absolutely nothing by protesting against this. And of course, the main factor here is not so much the Ottoman Empire as it is Germany. Do we want to annoy Germany? No, we don't, because Germany are the allies of the Ottoman Empire. Very basic. So we have this. What are the issues? Well, the only real concern I've seen, for instance, in the Danish Foreign Ministry is when it comes to the not the genocide as such, but the confiscations. The stealing of Armenian property. That's the only, what I've seen in documents in the archives, big red exclamation mark in the margins of documents. That is when it comes to confiscation, because there are Scandinavian money involved. Mm-hmm. What's in the banks? Do these Armenians who are being, who are now disappearing, the merchants, etc., sometimes they owe Danish companies something, it's tobacco companies, etc. So what's the issue here? So that is when the Danish Foreign Ministry gets involved in the whole genocidal process. That is to secure that Danish, Danish companies are not getting hurt in this process. So that is a small power, small countries. Then later on, then we come to just the immediate aftermath of the genocide. Then we have the Armenian question pops up again. What to do with the survivors? Should we give them that independence or self-ruling Armenia as they have been promised by the Allies? So first, the Allies and the League of Nations, they are promised to secure that Armenian nation. Then America backs off, Britain backs off, France backs off. League of Nations backs off. Who do they call? Not the Ghostbusters, they call the Scandinavians. Right? what they're actually, this sounds insane today, what they're actually asking Denmark, Sweden and Norway, Denmark, Sweden and Norway, is to send troops to intervene, to secure the survival of the small remnants of the Armenian nation in Western Armenia, Eastern Anatolia, that are being crushed at this point between the Kemalists and the Red Army. So just imagine for a moment you're Norwegian soldiers, neutral during the war, Danish soldiers, Swedish soldiers, going down and standing there with their guns and bad equipment and fighting, securing Armenian lives against battle-hardened, highly motivated Kemalists, Red Army. That is not going to happen. Of course they knew that in the Danish, Swedish and Norwegian foreign ministries. What do? They sort of coordinate a thanks but no thanks answer to the League of Nations and the big great and this is where the Scandinavian policies are beginning. I mean, as actual Scandinavian policies on a state level begin. That begins with a thanks but no thanks. That begins with a how can we avoid any kind of involvement, any kind of us getting hurt, us losing something in this process. There's nothing to gain, there's everything to lose. That is how they think. And we must Scandinavian
but you can gain more.
Yeah, but we're talking about State Departments. They don't give up. Sorry, the other word about morality. They don't care the least bit about morality. That is not their job. We don't do morality, and they're very independent-minded. They're very independent acting traditionally in Denmark, Sweden, and Norway. So that has been the policies all the way to today. So what is different with Sweden and the recognition of the Armenian genocide, Assyrian Greek genocide? Why Sweden, why not Denmark and Norway? That is simply because of, well, immigration. You in Sweden, in Sweden you have a relatively large number, and well organized, goes way back, of Armenians, but Greeks and Assyrians, especially, very many Assyrians. And also, they are well organized, they have organizations, etc., associations everywhere, and they have a they're well coordinated with the Kurdish population in Sweden. And without the Kurds, there have been no recognition in the parliament of the Armenian genocide in Sweden. That is because of that. In Norway and Denmark, small populations of Armenians, not very organized, not very together, not very well working with the Kurdish politicians. That is basically the difference. Which I don't do recognition, it's not my job. I don't do therapy, I don't do any of that. But when people ask me, what should we do to get it recognized in Denmark? Well, work with the Kurds, first of all. I mean, without that you don't get anywhere. So that's basically it. That's the Scandinavian question.
Thank you very much, man. So much.